For all things great iron and hard top, it's Kev Lewis since the Sandbox.
What's going on since the Sandbox fans? We are back with another YouTube video. And this is the one right here that I've been waiting for. If you follow me on Facebook, you've been seeing my rants for weeks now. The Celtics. What in God's earth is wrong with the Boston Celtics? Lou, I'm going to let you jump in first.
Two things. The bench blows. Like the wind, like a fan, like my air conditioner. Yeah. Every July. They blow. Like legitimately silly straw blow. Like the ones you used to get at Good Times.
Yeah.
And shoot spitballs out
That's a
of.
throwback.
Dead ass, dude. No, the roster isn't good in any way, shape, or form. Jeff Teague was an awful signing. I'll say I was wrong about that completely. Peyton Pritchard's the only decent bench presence. Semi Ojeleye looks like he's never played basketball for offensive purposes. Grant Williams is like the little engine that could, but can't.
The little engine that we thought could.
Yeah, but can't.
The same thing that we thought with Jared Sullinger, right? The little engine that we never thought.
Yes, dude.
yeah.
Why do the Celtics love guys who have tits? I don't get it.
Yeah.
In the draft, I don't get it, dude. But my biggest problem with it is the roster blows, and Jayson Tatum absolutely has no dog in him. No dog. No dog.
There it is, Lou.
He's got no dog. Listen, it's like, dude. It's like, dude. There's literally no fight. Like they don't look like they want it. Like he doesn't look like he's communicating with anybody. Like he's not leading. And Jaylen Brown should lead too, but he is a much better leader than Jayson Tatum is. He's not a better player. Let's not entertain that fallacy.
Cat will.
Yeah, so I'm gonna let Steve go before I jump in, 'cause
I'm
I have a lot
Would
to
you
say.
at least admit he's a better leader?
I'll address that when we get there.
I think you're gonna side with me.
All right, guys. So I have 4 points that I want to touch upon for the Celtics that are very, very important. First thing, I'll definitely talk about the roster because I definitely think the roster needs to be better, right? We need to use that trade exception, and we need to use that ASAP. We have $28 million sitting in the stash to better our roster, and we're not using it. And I understand that that's going to include sacrificing, giving up people on our team, sacrificing part of our future, if it's picks, whatever it is. If we don't make this change and make it now, I feel like we realistically, if we don't get the right guys on our roster within the next 2 years, we might miss our championship window.
Yes.
And I don't think that I'm overreacting by that, but I also think that Kev might be overreacting when it comes to putting the pressure on a 22-year-old a little bit. Because I will say this. A couple things that we need to do as a team. The defense needs to play 4 quarters. And I think that you guys would know that. We don't play defense for 4 quarters. We have our first quarter where we always outscore. We have our third quarter where we always outscore. But we always seem to blow it within the last 5 minutes, which we also almost did last night to the Wizards. The Wizards. Let's keep that in mind. Next, we need to get to the foul line more, and I think it's hurting us a little bit that Jaylen Brown is hurt, Marcus Smart is hurt, because I feel like those are 2 guys that do provide that for us often. Yes, Kev, I understand that Jayson Tatum shoots way too many threes. I do understand that he needs to attack the rack, and I agree with you on that. Me and you were going back and forth on your Facebook post a little bit yesterday. Something that I do think that the Celtics need to do is the Celtics need to get healthy. And Lou, I understand that I do understand that Jeff Teague has been playing more minutes than what he probably should be, but with the loss to Marcus Smart and Peyton Pritchard just coming back off an injury, that is why. So I do think that his role will be limited once we do get more healthy and once we do acquire a different trade acquisition. If we trade and we acquire a big, I think that allows Daniel Tice and Tristan Thompson to play more to their role. And what that means is those guys are playing 25-plus minutes a game now, and I'm not saying that they can't do that successfully, but what I am saying is that if those guys are playing around 20 minutes, they might be able to be, a little more prepared to be ready to play and produce at their highest level in that shorter amount of time. So I do think that the Celtics need to get it together. I do want to keep in mind, though, that almost every single team in the East has almost 12 wins already. Yeah, we're a little more than that, but we're realistically 5 games away from first and probably a game away from 12th. So let's keep that in mind as we're going forward. But yes, I'm pro Celtics. I'm pro Jayson Tatum. I'm pro Jaylen Brown. I'm pro Brad Stevens because he's our coach for the next couple of years. He's extended, and I'm not going to fight or debate that. So, I don't want to say anti-Celtics because you guys are Celtics fans, but let's hear the opposite side of the spectrum from you two.
All right, so here we go. King's about to speak. So first of all, so what was your question? If Jaylen Brown was what?
He's a better leader than Jayson Tatum.
Yeah. I mean, so obviously I'll just say it now. You guys know I think Jaylen Brown is a better player. Whether you agree or not, that's totally up to you. But I do agree with Lou. I think Jaylen Brown is a better player, like you said, just body language and attitude.
He has more dog in him.
But here's my thing, right?
Kev got no dog in him.
So first, you know what? Since I was bashing Jayson Tatum, I'll address the Jayson Tatum things first. And I think people get me wrong. I don't think Jayson Tatum is bad whatsoever. I think Jayson Tatum is a very good player. But at the same time, right, if we're going to talk about Jayson Tatum as a top 15, 20, 25 player in the league, then I'm not going to entertain the 22-year-old argument. You know what I mean? Like,
that's fair.
if you're a top 25 player in the league, like, you're a top 25 player in the league, and you need to be able to carry your team. You know what I'm saying?
Can I ask you a question with that statement? Okay, so at 22 years old, if he's a top 15, top 20, even say top 25 player, you don't think that at 26 years old he can be easily top 5 after that many years of growth?
He could.
I mean, anyone could, realistically. I personally don't see it right now because of the way he settles, because of his leadership, all that stuff. But I'm not going to sit here and say, like, you know what I mean? Like, Pritchard could be a top 5 player in the league. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, like, it's possible for anyone to. Talent-wise, will he be? Probably not. But anyone can be. My whole thing with Tatum is, like, by the time LeBron was 22 or 23, when he didn't win a championship, people were like, this guy's never going to win. Like, you know what I mean? So, like,
and then he jumped ship.
Right, but how come we pick and choose, like, these players that we put pressure on? Like, it's like, oh, Jayson Tatum's only 22 years old. But it's like, all right, the Celtics also have all the eggs in the Jayson Tatum basket. So, like, he needs to figure it out. You know what I mean? And, like, yes, I get it. Like, he's young. But, like, at the same time, the Celtics are in win-now mode. Like, if Jayson Tatum doesn't pan out to be the guy we want him to be, like, these last 4 or 5 years and the next 2 or 3 are all going to be a waste. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I think, like, yeah, like, the big man is our biggest thing right now. You know what I mean? The biggest thing for us is the big man. We need a good big man because even with Thompson and Tice, like, when we go up against the Embiids and, you know, even the Bam Adebayo, like, Bam Adebayo was averaging, like, 17 rebounds against us last year in the conference finals. Like, that's unacceptable, especially for a guy that's 6'9", 6'10", like, those are guys that Tyson, well, we didn't have Thompson last year, but we should be rebounding over. Like, what do you think is going to happen if we match up against a Philly in the Eastern Conference Finals? Like, Joel Embiid's going to tear us apart.
But, I don't think it's the big man, though. Like, I don't really think it is. Like, there's no playmaker. Name me one player on that team that is an elite passer. And don't say Kemba Walker's an elite passer.
I agree with you.
They have no playmaking. So Jayson Tatum, Marcus Smart, and Jaylen Brown all suck at playmaking. They all run into double teams and then turn into turnovers.
And there's a bunch of aspects, too.
We need a playmaker.
Like,
that's it.
Our roster is not a championship roster.
No.
Brad Stevens, do I think he can be a championship coach? Yes. Is he coaching at a championship caliber right now? Not at all.
It's bullshit.
Is Danny Ainge doing championship caliber GM moves? No. So, like, there's a bunch of things. So I don't want people to think I'm only putting the pressure on Tatum either, because I'm not. Because I understand he's going to have his growing pains. But, like, at some point, we got to hold the guy accountable, too. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if he's going to be the face of our organization, then he has to not only play that way, but carry himself that way, too, even on the court and off the court.
Yeah, I just think it's tough. Again, I think he is the guy we think he is. It's just like, there's no playmaker. Your third best player has literally my knees. And if anybody doesn't know me personally, I have no knees. So think about that. We haven't hit a point guard or a draft pick since Tatum.
Yeah.
No three-point shooting off the bench whatsoever. The biggest problem started when we didn't draft anybody good in 4 years. Mm-hmm. And then we made 2 bad trades. Waiting, oh my God, AD. We're gonna wait for AD. He didn't even want to come here. And KD, they both didn't want to come.
Yeah.
So it's like, dude, you have to get over yourselves. Realize someone has to go. Mm-hmm. Trade some picks. Use the trade exception, and literally get a playmaker. If you can score, if you could put Marcus Smart not back to the 6th man role, but if he's your 5th, 6th best player, that's a hell of a lot different than him being the third right
best
now.
Player. Yeah, no, and I hear that, but I also want to ask you this question. Since Tatum's been drafted, there's only 2 players that I would rather have than Tatum right now. Trae Young and Luka Doncic. Would you argue any other player over Jayson Tatum since he's been drafted?
Zion.
No.
I wouldn't take
Zion.
Zion over Jayson
Can't
Tatum. I really wouldn't.
I would.
He's a more guaranteed bucket, I think, but I don't think he's a better player. Because, I mean, you can't really stop him to the basket.
I think Tatum's potential is higher than Zion's.
I don't know about that. I mean, like,
How old is Zion? 20?
yeah, like realistically, like he was drafted a couple years before, but like I would even take Brandon Ingram over Jayson Tatum right now.
No.
You know what I mean? 100%. I would.
He's had more years to develop, though.
Yeah, but not by much. He's only been in the league like an extra 1 or 2 years than Tatum.
It's 2.
Yeah.
So you think right now in this year that Brandon Ingram's a better player than Jayson Tatum?
I think all around, yeah. Honestly, I do. Like Jayson Tatum, like people gotta realize, like, yeah, the guy scores 30 a game, but like, is he like how much of an impact does he really have on the floor? Like,
30
you know what I
points
mean?
a game.
Yeah, but
That's
like,
it.
I'd rather have a guy like Brandon Ingram who puts up like 24, 10, and 8 than like Jayson Tatum that puts up like 35 and 5. Like, you know what I mean? There's more of an impact.
I don't
And
know,
he's a
though.
better defender than Jayson Tatum too.
That's debatable, the defensive thing.
No, he's definitely a better defender.
I think he's longer, but I don't know. Again, if you had someone trying to body them in the block, I'd rather have Tatum.
All right, but still, even if you're saying Brandon Ingram, you would take 3, maybe 4 other players other than Jayson Tatum. So I really don't even think that that's a bad place to even be at.
Is
right
Ja
now.
Morant close? Healthy?
Man,
Ja's tough just because like
Oh my God.
yeah, I'm big on like the wing players over the point guards, honestly. But that's just my opinion. But like, do I think Ja's close? Like, yeah. Like, if they wanted to trade, like, if the Grizzlies wanted to give us Ja and like Tatum was in it, like,
No.
and, like, well, like,
No.
here's the other thing
Guys,
you
we
have
can't
to
listen to
here's
him.
the other thing you guys have to realize too is like, obviously I know the Celtics aren't gonna trade Jayson Tatum, but like, if the topic came up, like, if you're gonna trade Jayson Tatum or Jaylen Brown, if I'm Danny Ainge, well, no, I'm trading Jayson Tatum, and here's why. When it comes to being the better player, it's very, very close. And 2, in a trade market, Jayson Tatum's going to have far more value than Jaylen Brown is.
I say you give Kemba Walker and Jaylen Brown up for Ja Morant. That's it.
Nah, I think that's
How
too
is
much.
how is that
I
not
think
fair?
that's too much.
How
for,
is that
for
too
Ja.
much? He's young. Kemba Walker's damaged good. Kemba Walker might have the least trade value than Zydrunas Ilgauskas.
Like, I would do the Pelicans trade, like the Kemba for Steven Adams and Lonzo, because that's
No.
been floating around.
No.
I would do that in a second, bro. What do you mean? Lonzo's a playmaking point guard, pass-first playmaking point guard, one of the best defending point guards in the league, and then you get Steven Adams, who's a walking 15 rebounds a game.
I know, but like he's so slow.
so
Yeah,
here's
but we don't need a fast. We need someone that can protect the rim and rebound. Like, that's what we need, a big man.
So for the whole guard thing, here's something that I would propose. I don't know how realistic it is, but I definitely think it's something that if we're talking about a facilitator or a playmaker and somebody to make other people better, Rondo. Rondo's on Atlanta. He's the second point guard. He's probably barely playing 20 minutes. So what would it take realistically to get him there? I know he just signed in the
a draft
offseason.
pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, Perk. I think Perk mentioned that.
You know what we
in the
should
week,
know
but
now?
I would love Rondo.
You know who I think
I
would be a
would love
good guy to probably get? Because I heard he's on the market. John Collins. I'll take him.
I'd take
Oh, for big man, yeah. 100%.
I'd take John Collins and Rondo. I'd take them both. Dead serious. Sacrifice.
Send him.
I'd sacrifice a couple first round picks.
Wrap him up in a scarf and a baguette and send him over.
Yeah, easily. As
No,
long as
John
it's still
Collins would
warm.
be a great fit too.
As long as it's still warm.
A great fit.
But guys, there's a lot that we could say with the Celtics, and hopefully, after the All-Star break, we'll start getting a little bit more of a clearer picture idea of the direction that we're going. I don't think that we're in panic mode, and realistically, by the end of the season, I still think that we're going to be a top 4 seed in the East. Do you guys think that?
No. I say they're 5.
I mean, if it's
Possible.
it's
but,
yeah, like they need to figure out if they can figure it out after the All-Star break, then like yeah, obviously.
But what
they
are
can
you
be
putting your money on? They're a 4.
Well, like
or,
Smart getting healthy is a big one.
I think that,
'Cause
and,
he's a big
and
loss.
also you have to kind of put your money on the Celtics making a move. I think you have to put
Yeah.
your money in on that.
yeah, it'd have to be. But I'm going. I think the Pacers are better all around. I think the Raptors are getting better. I think Brooklyn's better. I think Philly's better. I think Milwaukee's better.
Milwaukee's getting hot.
Yeah.
Milwaukee's getting hot, and that's going to be a problem.
Yeah, and like that's my other thing too, like about like because like if you saw my Facebook post and like I'm not trying to bash Jayson Tatum again, but like in my Facebook post I said He's not a number one on a championship team. And the reason I say that is because if you look up and down, right, the West and the East, right, whoever is projected to be the top 8 seeds, like maybe there's 2 or 3 teams we're playing in both of those conferences combined that when the Celtics step on the court, Jayson Tatum's going to be the best player.
Definitely better than
like, you know what I mean?
Mitchell.
Yeah.
Debatable though.
He's better than Donovan Mitchell.
Come on.
But like that's debatable. How are you gonna sit here and say that's not debatable? Donovan Mitchell.
It's close, but he's clearly better.
But again, like the Jazz. But like you think about it, the Clippers, he's not gonna be the best player. Lakers, not gonna be the best player. Nuggets, not gonna be the best player. Nets, Philly, and Milwaukee, he's not gonna be the best player on the court. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like, again, if he develops, can he develop into a top 10-5 player? Yes, but if he doesn't, then the Celtics, it's going to be a long few seasons for the Celtics.
I wouldn't say, I know Jokic is better than him, but centers have less of an impact, and they have the Nuggets number every time they play.
Yeah.
So in that instance, I think, and also with the Jazz thing, we're talking about a god in Donovan Mitchell. He has less impact. It's all about the forwards.
I also think that if you put Jayson Tatum in a scenario in a market like Donovan Mitchell's in, I think he would also be blowing up, just like we saw in the previous years with Kevin Love. Kev, we were talking about this with Steph the other day and how he needed to show himself in a market. And Tatum's doing this in a big market. I feel like that's something important to very keep in mind. And
Chef Curry.
And something that Tatum's done that Melo hasn't done. Nah, I'm kidding.
Everything he hasn't done.
I was gonna say, what is it? Pick your poison.
He's literally had a more accomplished career to this point.
Yeah.
Outside of the scoring title.
It's just like, how many times are we gonna run back like the Eastern Conference? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's cool to get there, but like
I'll run it the next 8 years.
I know, but I'm saying like if you're not gonna like the great Tony Sinat saying, right? Almost is like kissing your sister. You know what I mean? I never got the expression, but I know it feels right, and that's what the Celtics is. It's like, and that's what the Celtics is. It's like, yeah, dude, like, yeah, we're a good team, we're a top 3 or 4 team in the East, but like, if we can't get past the Eastern Conference Finals, we might as well be a friggin' 10 seed. Like at that point, you know what I mean? Like,
yes.
What is the end game?
Down goes
Got
the
that
cereal.
Good. He belongs on the
ground. Get your
anyway.
Wheaties.
Belongs on the ground anyway.
Hey, he's about to lead my fantasy team.
Even though he's my GOAT. Belongs on the ground.
GOAT.
But guys, that's what we think of the Celtics. I'm a little more optimistic than I think Kev would be on the Celtics front. But it's all right, Kev. We still like you.
Kills me, man. Celtics are my squad, but I just got to keep it real, man.
Knicks fan.
I'm not. I was a Knicks fan for 4 years when Melo was there.
That doesn't even. Oh God, I'm done.
That's
I'm done.
it.
Wrap
Who's
it up.
a Colts fan, born and raised in Boston? I don't want to hear it.
You're a Bills
That's
fan.
like being a Yankees fan.
That is not true.
Peyton Manning.
Guys, like, subscribe, give us the 5 stars on the podcast. Let us know what you think of this video. Celtics fans, it's gonna be okay. Just all in due time. We got the All-Star break gonna help us a little bit. We're gonna be involved in the trade market before the deadline is up. Guys, make sure you like and subscribe. Peace out.
For all things great iron and hard top, it's Kev Lewis since the Sandbox.